Guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Hillman here. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. If you like the content I make, be sure to subscribe to stay updated with the videos I post. For those of you who are returning, thank you for always returning back. This is a short follow-up video to a video I already made talking about Ukrainian refugees who are here, who are trying to study medicine and have a lot of questions about that. And this is an update video basically. So if you haven't watched the first video to know what this is talking about, go watch that. I'll attach it somewhere here as well. Also, there'll be a link in the description. But this is a follow-up video talking about what I promised I would talk about in the last video. And basically, without further ado, get right into the video. This is an update, and basically, the last video, we were not sure, or I wasn't sure about what the tuition fee was going to be for Ukrainian refugees who were trying to study in the Netherlands, because there was still, the parliament still had to make that decision. A few months ago, basically a few weeks after I made the last video, the parliament took the decision that Ukrainian refugees are going to be paying the lower tariff. And it's worth mentioning that that includes Ukrainian, or at least as far as I could have seen on the website. I'm going to attach some information here as well. But that includes Ukrainian nationals and also students who had to flee from Ukraine because of the war. So some universities are definitely taking all refugees. I don't know if there are other universities that only make the distinction between Ukrainian nationals and non-Ukrainian nationals. I would not imagine that would be the case. But for now, from my understanding, it includes all refugees from Ukraine, whether you are a Ukrainian national or not. As long as you've had to flee from Ukraine because of the war, you're qualified to apply for this. So basically, you pay the same tariff as Dutch nationals. So instead of paying, of course, that varies. The tuition fee varies for non-EU students per program and per university. But instead of paying at least 10,000 for medicine, it will go up to 32,000. Like a lot of you who messaged me asking, is that really the tuition fee you have to pay? That would normally be the case if you're a non-EU national. But with the new, the law, the temporal law, which falls under the temporal guidelines for the European temporal guidelines for like temporal protection, it states that refugees from Ukraine who have a status now in the Netherlands, a refugee status or an asylum status, qualify for the lower tariff. So that means you pay the same amount as Dutch nationals. That's 2,209 at the moment, off the top of my head. So that's good news. That's great news. That means you can actually finally study here with without having to pay a ridiculous amount of money. Also, on top of that, that law, there is also an emergency funds, an emergency funding. And I think that goes per university, it differs. They're trying to centralize it with the government, but per university, there's an emergency funding. So students who are admitted into the university and also have financial problems can always just turn to that emergency funds for help in case you need it. So on top of the tuition fee, which has been reduced, there's also an emergency funds for students who are admitted to the university. So that's great news. I think that's really, really something people need at this point in time, that reassurance that you have the ability to continue your education here. So that's great. But of course, you still have to apply for the program. So that does not necessarily always mean you would get a program, because you did the program in Ukraine and you came here, so you have to apply for the program you want to continue doing here. Now, Ukraine signed the Bologna Agreement as well, so that means the credits in Ukraine are also valid in the Netherlands, or supposed to be valid in the Netherlands. Universities might differ with regards to that, but your credits should be valid here. So I don't know, you just have to check with your university you're applying to, if you can transfer your credits. That should be possible based on the fact that Ukraine also signed the Bologna Agreement. That was it for general information for all students and tuition fee and just the university and trying to continue your studies here. Now I'm going to talk specifically to medical students, because a lot of you who reached out to me were medical students who were asking how to continue medical studies here. Let me start with the tuition fee. So the tuition fee stays the same, 2,209, I think. The lower tariff, which other Dutch students pay as well. Of course, you have the barrier to also apply for the program, which is going to be challenging if you do not speak Dutch. So in that case, you have two options, which are English bachelor programs in medicine. And as a result of that, you can start in English and then continue the master's in Dutch, because all the master's programs are in Dutch, because you have to do clinical rotations, talk to patients, and so forth. So you have to start in English, ideally, if you do not speak Dutch, or if you can learn Dutch in the few months before you start, that would be really great. But there are two universities that offer the bachelor's in English, Maastricht and Groningen. So you might want to look into this too. You can only apply for one medical program a year, but more information about that, you're better off waiting to the end of the video, where I can tell you more about how you can find more information. So there's two medical schools in the Netherlands that offer bachelor's in English. Maastricht and Groningen, both ends of the country. The applications start in October, so you cannot really apply now. At the moment I'm making this video, it's the summer. You can start applying in October because the applications open from then. You applied in October for September, the academic year, September 2023. In my opinion, because I learned Dutch in a few months to study medicine. In my opinion, you can learn Dutch in this few months to increase your chances of getting into medicine. But that's not a must. So because this English program, so if you want to really increase your chance of getting into medical school here, then I would definitely strongly advise you to learn Dutch in the few months while you're also applying for medical school. That can really go a long way to help you also just with your general integration in the country. The application process can be tedious sometimes, but it is doable as long as you just do all the necessary work you need to do beforehand, get all the necessary documentation beforehand. So when the deadlines or the applications open, you can just send all your documents and you don't have to think about that and like run the risk of not making the deadlines for the application. So I'll definitely advise you to start that early enough. With regards to transferring credits, like I said, I don't know how it works for medicine, for other programs, but for medicine, normally you have to apply to start. Most universities require you to apply when you start. I know a couple of students who, for example, if you're coming from Ukraine and you're your 4th year, 5th year, starting back from year 1 seems like a haunting idea. I would not necessarily know how I would feel about that. And I know a couple of students who came from like Egypt with diplomas there who have like done 4 or 5 years of medical school from other places. And general base rule is, at least for Maastricht University, I would assume other universities have the same thing, but I cannot say for sure. Baseline is you apply like someone who wants to start medicine from year 1. And based on how your university goes around with that, if you can show them, you can prove that you have the necessary knowledge to push it to higher years, there may just be a chance that the university sends you to a higher year. That's something which I cannot tell you for sure. I cannot guarantee you, so do not quote me on this. But I know a couple of people who have been pushed a couple of years higher because their knowledge was obviously higher than the year that we're in. So it is possible to somehow find yourself in a higher year and not have to like do everything again. But the bottom line is you have to start medical program from year 1 here, which I think is fine. At least you have some perspective, you have something to look forward to. So that is with regards to the credit transfer for the medical program. So if you have any other questions, I can imagine maybe based on this, you get some clarity with regards to tuition fee and stuff like that. But if you have any other questions with regards to how do I apply, how do I get the documentation, what are the ins and outs of the medical degree, because I can imagine it's confusing coming from a different system to the Dutch system, which is not the easiest. I have a coaching practice. I'm a coach as well, and I help students with transitions to new environments and just figuring out their way with new systems like the Dutch system, which I'm familiar with. So I'm a coach, and if you want further information, I'll put all the information down in the description below. So feel free to reach out to me via email, on Instagram. We can set up a session. In that session, we can talk about all your questions you have and help you figure out and navigate the best path for you. I think that just works more efficiently. If you text me through Instagram, I might just send you to my email, because I think that just works better if you can have a session where you tackle everything compared to just texting back and forth. So if you need any information, more information, if you need more help with navigating this transition, figuring out the application process, be sure to reach out to me and I'll be glad to help you out. But yeah, guys, that has been it for this video. I hope this was helpful to someone. Share this video with people you feel like they need to hear this, because I know a lot of people have questions. People are reaching out to me really confused. Share this with your classmates if you know other people who might need to watch this video or need this information, and let's just spread the word. But I think it's great. It's great progress. It's great news that you don't have to pay that horrendous tuition fee. I think it's ridiculous. But anyways, you can pay the lower tariff, and that's great. That's great news. So let's just get the necessary work done to get people to continue their studies, because I cannot imagine having to stop your studies without any perspective. That has been it for this video, guys. I hope this was helpful to someone. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share, all that good stuff. And until next time, stay blessed and peace.